Your chocolate isn't always sweet. Sometimes it's contaminated, and most people never check. But here's the problem. Lab tests found lead and cadmium in some of the most trusted healthy and premium chocolate bars in America. And it gets worse because behind the shiny foil are misleading labels, dirty supply chains, and brands quietly cutting corners while families, kids, and pregnant women absorb cumulative toxins. For children, that means brain damage. For seniors, it means slow kidney and cognitive decline. Today, we're counting down the 10 chocolate brands you should never buy and revealing the 3 that actually protect your health. So stay with me to the end, because knowing which brands are truly safe could change what you buy forever. 10. Trader Joe's Dark Chocolate. We begin our docket with a brand that built its empire on the illusion of trust, Trader Joe's. Specifically, the Dark Chocolate Lover's Chocolate 85% Cacao. You walk into Trader Joe's believing it is the safe harbor from corporate greed. You see the USDA organic seal and the minimalist packaging. You assume a brand marketing to health-conscious shoppers tests its supply chain. That trust is misplaced. You aren't buying a health product, you are buying a heavy metal delivery system. In December 2022, Consumer Reports conducted a forensic analysis that shattered this reputation. The results were damning. A single ounce of this Trader Joe's bar contained 127% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead, and a staggering 229% for cadmium. You are consuming more than double the daily safety limit of an organ-damaging toxin in a single sitting. This negligence triggered immediate legal action. In January 2023, a class action lawsuit, Kramer versus Trader Joe's Company, was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. The complaint explicitly accuses Trader Joe's of deceptively marketing products as a healthy choice while failing to disclose dangerous levels of lead and cadmium. How does this happen in an organic product? Here's the loophole. Organic certification limits synthetic pesticides but has zero requirements for heavy metals. Cadmium is a stubborn element that cocoa trees absorb directly from contaminated soil through their roots. Trader Joe's sources cheap cocoa from regions with high soil toxicity and refuses to pay for the necessary soil remediation. For the loyal customer eating this daily for heart health, the reality is the opposite. Cadmium accumulates in the kidneys with a biological half-life of over 10 years. You are slowly destroying your renal function while thinking you are being healthy. If you think you can escape this by switching to a standard drugstore brand, think again. The negligence there is even more calculated. 9. Russell Stover. If Trader Joe's betrays the health-conscious, Russell Stover preys on the vulnerable. This is the drugstore chocolate staple found at CVS and Walgreens, marketed heavily to seniors and diabetics under the guise of sugar-free options. The trap is nostalgia and price. Consumers see the handcrafted script on the heart-shaped box and assume quality. But a forensic audit reveals you are not buying chocolate. You are buying a chemistry experiment designed to mimic the texture of cocoa. We conducted a label autopsy on their popular sugar-free dark chocolate line. The primary ingredient is often not cocoa, but maltitol, a cheap sugar alcohol replacer. Furthermore, independent testing referenced in 2023 has flagged mass-market brands like Russell Stover for high contamination risks. Because they source the cheapest bulk cocoa on the spot market to maintain low prices, they are statistically prone to acquiring beans high in lead and cadmium from unregulated supply chains. The fraud is chemical substitution. To cut costs, Russell Stover utilizes polyglycetol syrup and fractionated palm kernel oil instead of pure cocoa butter. Maltitol is well documented in medical literature to cause significant gastrointestinal distress, including osmotic diarrhea. They are marketing a product to diabetics and seniors, populations often managing kidney issues that stresses their digestive systems while introducing heavy metal neurotoxins. For the grandmother receiving this on Valentine's Day or the diabetic trusting the label, the result is a direct assault on their physiology. You are paying for handcrafted tradition, but you are eating industrial filler. Cheap chocolate cuts corners, and we expect that. But what happens when you pay a premium price for a European luxury that doesn't actually exist? 8. Godiva. Russell Stover is cheap and honest about it. Godiva, however, commits a far more expensive crime, the premium illusion. You pay $50 for a gold box believing you are purchasing authentic European luxury. Godiva built its brand on 2 words, Belgium 1926. This label implies old-world craftsmanship and superior ingredients. The gold ribbons and individual wrapping are designed to make you feel sophisticated. But in the eyes of the law, this packaging was a calculated lie. In 2019, the deception unraveled in federal court. A class action lawsuit, Hershey versus Godiva Chocolatier Incorporated, filed in the Southern District of New York, exposed the truth. The chocolate sold in U.S. stores was not made in Brussels. It was mass-produced in a factory in Reading, Pennsylvania. Godiva agreed to a massive $15 million settlement to resolve claims that they misled consumers. You were paying import prices for domestic factory candy, but the fraud goes deeper than geography. In December 2022, Consumer Reports tested the Godiva Signature Mini Bars Dark Chocolate 72% Cacao. The results were shocking for a luxury brand. The samples contained 146% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead. Unlike cadmium, which comes from soil, lead contamination typically occurs post-harvest. It comes from industrial dust, exhaust fumes, or dirty drying patios settling on sticky wet cocoa beans. High lead levels in a premium product indicate that despite the fancy gold foil, Godiva's supply chain management is dirty. You buy Godiva to impress a date, but you are overpaying for domestic deception laced with neurotoxins. Godiva fakes its country of origin, but this next brand literally destroyed a nation's culinary heritage to save a few pennies. 7. Cadbury US version. Godiva lies about where it's made, but Cadbury US lies about what it is. If you grew up in the UK or Canada, the purple wrapper represents creamy, dairy-rich joy. But if you buy a Cadbury dairy milk in the United States today, you are the victim of a corporate hostile takeover of your taste buds. You see the iconic purple packaging and the script logo. You assume you are buying the world-famous British recipe. You are not. In the United States, Cadbury chocolate is not made by Cadbury. It is manufactured by the Hershey Company, which acquired the licensing rights in 1988. They took a masterpiece and engineered it down to a commodity. The difference is not subjective, it is litigated. In 2015, the Hershey Company filed a lawsuit, Hershey Company versus Let's Buy British Imports, effectively banning the import of authentic British Cadbury bars into the U.S. Why? Because the real product was so superior that it threatened their sales. The ingredient lists prove the betrayal. The first ingredient in UK Cadbury is milk. The first ingredient in the U.S. version is sugar. But the chemical profile is where it gets nauseating. Hershey employs a process called lipolysis on their milk, which breaks down fatty acids to extend shelf life. This process produces butyric acid, a chemical compound also found in rancid butter and, chemically speaking, in human vomit. This is why Europeans often describe American chocolate as tasting sour or like sick. Furthermore, the U.S. version utilizes polyglycerol polyresinolate. This is a lab-synthesized emulsifier derived from castor bean oil used to reduce the viscosity of chocolate so they can use less cocoa butter. They swapped the most expensive, flavorful ingredient for a cheap chemical trick. You are paying for a British legacy, but you are eating a sugar-loaded, vomit acid-containing simulation designed by American lawyers to maximize shelf life, not flavor. Ruining a recipe is corporate greed, but ruining a child's life, that is pure evil. Enter the courtroom. 6. Nestlé Toll House. Hershey ruins the taste, but Nestlé ruins lives. We arrive at the bright yellow bag found in nearly every American pantry, Nestlé Toll House chocolate chips. For decades, this brand has sold itself as the heart of wholesome family memories. The trap is the family-safe image. You see the 1939 recipe on the back and assume a company feeding millions of American children operates with basic human decency. You are wrong. Those chocolate chips are built on a supply chain credibly accused of the systematic trafficking and torture of children. The evidence reached the highest court in the land. In the landmark case Nestlé USA Inc. versus Doe, decided by the Supreme Court of the United States on June 17, 2021, the horrors were laid bare. 6 individuals trafficked as children from Mali and Burkina Faso, detailed being forced to work 14-hour days on Ivory Coast farms, unpaid and guarded by armed men. Did Nestlé win because they were innocent? No. The Supreme Court dismissed the lawsuit on a technicality regarding the Alien Tort Statute, ruling that because the abuse happened on foreign soil, American courts lacked jurisdiction. They escaped on a loophole, not an exoneration, but the assault on children isn't just external, it's internal. In 2023, Consumer Reports tested the Nestlé Toll House 53% cacao dark chocolate morsels. The results? Lead levels at 114% and cadmium at 120% of the safety limit. This is a double-edged sword. Children absorb lead 4 to 5 times more efficiently than adults. Lead mimics calcium, tricking the body into absorbing it into developing bones and brain tissue, causing permanent IQ loss. When you bake with Nestlé, you are teaching children to unknowingly fund exploitation while poisoning their developing brains. Nestlé fights in court to avoid responsibility. This next competitor pretends to inspire you while doing the exact same thing. 5. Mars, Dove. Nestlé hides behind lawyers. But Mars, the owner of Dove chocolate, hides behind inspiration. This is the brand of silky smooth promises, where every foil wrapper greets you with a message like, "Follow your dreams," or "You are stronger than you know." This is weaponized psychology. Mars markets Dove not just as candy, but as an act of self-care. The inspirational messages create an emotional bond, making you feel that by purchasing this chocolate, you are participating in a cycle of kindness. The reality is a sickening display of cognitive dissonance. While their wrappers tell you to follow your dreams, the children harvesting their cocoa have none. In 2001, Mars signed the Harkin-Engel Protocol, a binding international agreement promising to eliminate the worst forms of child slavery in West Africa. The result? Complete failure. They missed their deadline in 2005, then again in 2008, then 2010, and again in 2020. 2 decades of working on it while continuing to profit from the same abusive supply chains monitored by the ineffective International Cocoa Initiative. But the abuse isn't limited to the farm. It extends to your body. In 2023, Consumer Reports tested the Dove Promises Deepest Dark Chocolate 82% cacao. The results showed cadmium levels at 112% of the safe limit. Cadmium is a cumulative toxin that specifically targets the renal tubules, the filtration units of your kidneys. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, cadmium does not leave. It has a biological half-life in the human body of 10 to 30 years. That means the cadmium from the Dove bar you ate in 2010 is likely still in your kidney tissue today, contributing to a slow, silent decline in renal function. Mars is selling you a moment of luxury that funds modern-day slavery and permanently degrades your organs. The promise on the wrapper is a lie. Emotional manipulation is bad, but scientific manipulation is deadly. Let's look at the so-called expert's choice. 4. Lindt Excellence. Mars deceives with emotion, but Lindt deceives with authority. This is the brand of the master chocolatier, dressed in white chef's coats, promising Swiss quality since 1845. They specifically market their high-percentage bars, 70%, 85%, 90%, to the most health-conscious demographic, seniors seeking heart health and pregnant women seeking antioxidants. The trap here is the darker is better fallacy. You believe that by choosing the 85% bar over the 70% bar, you are making a superior health choice. You are cutting out sugar and maximizing benefits. In reality, you are simply swapping one poison for another. In December 2022, Consumer Reports exposed the chemical lottery playing out inside these expertly crafted wrappers. The results revealed a terrifying correlation. The healthier the option, the more toxic it became. The Lindt Excellence, 70% cocoa tested high for cadmium at 116% of the safe limit. But when you upgrade to the 85% cocoa bar, the profile shifts. Cadmium drops, but lead spikes to 166% of the maximum allowable dose. This betrayal triggered a class action lawsuit, Godiva versus Lindt and Springley USA Incorporated, filed in New York. The plaintiffs argue that Lindt's marketing, expertly crafted with the finest ingredients, is functionally fraudulent when those ingredients contain unsafe levels of heavy metals. Why the difference? Cadmium is absorbed by the roots. Lead accumulates on the shell during drying. The fact that the 85% bar has such massive lead levels suggests that as Lindt increases the cocoa mass, they are concentrating beans from dirty, roadside drying patios covered in industrial dust. For pregnant women, this is catastrophic. Lead freely crosses the placental barrier. There is no safe level of lead for a fetus. Eating this healthy snack directly exposes the developing brain to neurotoxins. You pay premium prices for Swiss precision, but you receive industrial contamination. Lindt's lead levels were high, but they pale in comparison to the American heavyweight champion of lead. 3. Hershey's Special Dark. Lindt may be the choice of the connoisseur, but Hershey's is the choice of the nation. This is America's chocolate company, established in 1894. The Hershey's Special Dark Bar is often the first step Americans take away from milk chocolate, believing they are making a mildly healthier choice. The trap is blind legacy trust. You don't read the label because it feels like a safe American staple. But forensic data reveals that this trust has been betrayed on a chemically massive scale. In the Consumer Reports December 2022 investigation, Hershey's special dark mildly sweet chocolate set a horrifying record. The lab test detected lead levels at 265% of California's maximum allowable dose level. To put that in perspective, this was the highest lead contamination of every single brand tested in the entire study. Higher than Trader Joe's, higher than Lindt. This result immediately sparked a class action lawsuit, Lazarin versus the Hershey Company, filed in the Eastern District of New York. The complaint alleges that Hershey knowingly sold products containing heavy metals without warning labels, exposing millions of consumers to avoidable toxins. Lead contamination is environmental, coming from industrial dust or dirty equipment settling on beans during drying. A score of 265% suggests Hershey's sourcing protocols are catastrophically negligent. Lead is a cumulative neurotoxin that mimics calcium. It stores itself in your bones and teeth, leaching back into the bloodstream over decades. For the senior citizen eating a square every night for 20 years believing it helps their heart, the reality is they have been slowly increasing their body's lead burden, contributing directly to cognitive decline. Hershey poisons you with dirty cocoa. This next brand insults you by not even using real cocoa. 2. Great value. Walmart. Hershey's fails on purity, but Walmart's great value fails on definition. When you buy this brand, you are often not buying chocolate at all. You are buying a petroleum-based simulation designed to exploit the budget-conscious shopper. The trap here is the inflation economy. With food prices soaring, a $2 bag of chocolate chips seems like a financial win. Walmart knows this. They design the packaging to mimic premium brands using the same dark colors and font styles. But if you turn the package over, the legal text reveals the scam. Under FDA Regulation 21 CFR 163.155, a product cannot legally be called chocolate if it replaces cocoa butter with cheaper fats. Read the great value packaging carefully. You will often see the phrase chocolatey coating or chocolate flavored. This is not a marketing choice. It is a legal requirement because the product is fake. The ingredient list confirms the fraud. Instead of cocoa butter, you find palm oil or hydrogenated vegetable oil, but the cheap ingredients come with a heavy cost. In 2023, Consumer Reports tested the Great Value dark chocolate chips. Despite being largely composed of sugar and oil, the cocoa powder they did use was so dirty that the product still tested positive for lead at 116% of the safety limit. This is a double tap on your health. First, the hydrogenated oils coat your mouth with a waxy film that doesn't melt at body temperature, promoting chronic inflammation and cardiovascular disease. Second, the lead accumulates in your bones. You are saving $2 at the register to pay thousands later in medical costs for kidney function decline and heart disease. Walmart is selling you plastic food laced with heavy metals. It is a tax on the poor, paid in organs. Walmart sells you chemical sludge. But our number one spot sells you a biological weapon engineered for addiction. 1. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Great value is a scam, but Reese's is a weapon. This is the orange-wrapped icon that defines American childhoods, from Halloween buckets to gas station counters. It is the most popular candy in the nation, and it holds the number one spot on our docket because it is chemically engineered to destroy your metabolic health. The trap is the perfect combination. We are culturally conditioned to view peanut butter and chocolate as a wholesome indulgence. Reese's exploits this by selling a product that technically contains peanuts but functionally operates as a sugar delivery vehicle. Turn the package over. The first ingredient is sugar. Not chocolate, not peanuts. Sugar. A standard 2-cup package delivers 22 grams of sugar. According to the American Heart Association, a child should consume no more than 25 grams of added sugar in an entire day. One pack of Reese's consumes nearly that entire limit in 60 seconds before accounting for soda, cereal, or bread. But the sugar is just the payload. The preservation system is the poison. The ingredient list includes tertiary butyl hydroquinone. The Center for Science in the Public Interest, a leading consumer advocacy group, classifies TBHQ specifically as a chemical to avoid. Why? Because studies on laboratory animals have linked this synthetic preservative to the formation of tumors and neurotoxic effects. You are feeding your children a chemical that scientists warn against, just so a candy bar can sit on a shelf for 12 months. Reese's is not cooked. It is engineered. Food scientists utilize a concept called the bliss point. They calculate the exact mathematical ratio of salt, sugar, and fat required to trigger the maximum dopamine response in the human brain. This ratio overrides your body's natural leptin signals. You cannot eat just one because the product is neurologically designed to prevent you from stopping. It is biohacking disguised as a snack. We are training the next generation for insulin resistance and addiction. The orange wrapper is a warning sign we have ignored for too long. But don't panic. Not every chocolate brand has betrayed your trust. Clean chocolate exists. 1. Endangered species. Chocolate. We promised you solutions, and the forensic data delivers. You do not need to give up chocolate. You simply need to stop funding companies that poison you. The first verified safe harbor is endangered species chocolate. In the exact same December 2022 Consumer Reports study where Hershey and Trader Joe's failed spectacularly, this brand proved that contamination is a choice, not an inevitability. The laboratory results were clear. Lead levels at 43% and cadmium at 31% of the maximum allowable dose. Both numbers are well within the green safety zone established by California toxicology standards. They are not just protecting your kidneys, they are protecting the planet. The company strictly adheres to fair trade international standards and contractually donates 10% of their net profits to wildlife conservation partners. When you buy a bar with a rhino or an eagle on the wrapper, the money actually goes to protecting that species, not to defending lawsuits in federal court. This is proof that profit and safety can coexist. If you want to save animals, buy this. But what if you want the absolute purest ingredients for your own body? 2. Who Kitchen. If endangered species is for the activist, Who Kitchen is for the purist. This brand has exploded onto the scene, dominating the clean-eating aisles of Whole Foods and Erewhon, and the data proves the hype is justified. In the same Consumer Reports investigation, Who Kitchen demonstrated that you do not need industrial chemicals to make chocolate taste good. The toxicology report showed lead levels at 50% and cadmium at just 23% of the safety limit. This is one of the cleanest profiles available on the mass market. The secret is what they don't put in. While Russell Stover uses maltitol and Hershey uses PGPR, Hugh uses only 3 core ingredients: organic cacao, organic cocoa butter, and unrefined organic coconut sugar. By rejecting refined cane sugar and soy lecithin, they eliminate the inflammatory triggers found in 99% of other brands. This is the gold standard for paleo, vegan, and gluten-free diets. You are paying more, but you are paying for the absence of poison. Clean ingredients are great, but this final brand heals the planet while you eat. 3. Alter Eco. Lindt claims to be premium, but Alter Eco actually defines the standard. If you're looking for a brand that is technically superior in every metric, from soil health to package waste, this is the one. Alter Eco is not just a chocolate company. They are a certified B Corporation and are climate neutral certified. But the real breakthrough is their method: regenerative agriculture. While Trader Joe's sources from depleted soils that force trees to suck up cadmium, Alter Eco invests in agroforestry, planting diverse crops that restore soil health. Scientifically, healthy soil rich in organic matter acts as a natural buffer, reducing the uptake of toxic heavy metals into the bean. They even solved the waste problem. Their wrappers are fully compostable, meaning you aren't leaving plastic trash behind. And for those addicted to Lindt truffles, Alter Eco offers the only safe alternative: melt-away truffles made with organic coconut oil instead of industrial fats. You now know the truth. From the lead in your Hershey's to the child slaves behind your Nestlé, every dollar you spend is a vote. Vote for the brands that respect your biology. So, here is the bottom line. Real chocolate is about soil and sourcing. Industrial chocolate is just heavy metals and marketing. Now, do me a favor, check your pantry right now. Are you holding one of the toxic 10, or have you switched to a clean alternative like Who or Alter Eco? Drop the brand name in the comments below. Let's help each other avoid the poison. If you refuse to be fooled by marketing gimmicks anymore, hit that like button and subscribe. We are digging deep to uncover the truth behind the everyday products you trust. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and I'll see you in the next investigation.